Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Pro Wrestling Weekly. We're doing it a day early this week. It's on a Tuesday and an hour early as well because I've been sequestered to do a little bit of decorating for Christmas and stuff like that. And not quite at that National Lampoons level, but not far off it, as they say. So a bit of decorating to do later, stuff to get down and all that usual stuff. So, bit of crack, but we have a great show for you tonight. Pro Wrestling Weekly, as always. Always plenty to talk about in the world of professional wrestling. If you can, subscribe to the channel, smash up those likes and hit that bell notification button. As always appreciate the support that you guys give and the love that you show in this Pro Wrestling Weekly community. We're going to be taking you through AEW Full Gear. We'll take a quick recap of Raw last night. We'll talk about Survivor Series. Get your predictions for that because we are on the road to Survivor Series. It's almost there. Quick update on the US title tournament and a little bit of a chat, obviously, about the IC belt being revealed as well for Raw. We kind of knew this was going to be the case when we looked at the US tournament, all SmackDown. So US belt SmackDown, IC belt Raw makes kind of sense. We'll get your thoughts on that as well. What's your thoughts on the two new women's belts going in there? For a long time, we've had that middle card there where they've had nothing really to strive for, and I think this was a real good move forward. But we shall see, depending on how it's booked, is really, really important in terms of it. Don't forget, just because they're new belts as well, they still carry the legacy of the men's one as well. So, big boots to fill in some of those areas as well. So we shall see. And then we'll have our usual roundup. We've a little bit of history there and some notable birthdays, some interesting ones. So, bit of fun show. Get into it. So let's start in the chat. Sean's in there. Big up, Sean. Afternoon. Yeah, not quite, but not far off it. Hope you are good, my friend. Right. So let's go. Let's start Full Gear. If you're in the chat, let me know your thoughts on Full Gear. What did you think about it? How did you feel about it? On the back of kind of Moxley's interview with the New York Post on about it being day zero and all this kind of thing and a reset and all that kind of stuff and everything before it was kind of irrelevant. Let's go down through it. So I started off with I thought it was a solid show as well. Sean's coming in, solid show, but too long. Yeah, this is a real issue for me. I think what they have to do with this is they have to look at what WWE has done and they have to go 3 hours, 6 matches, half an hour a match. Boom, 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 and get it done. And I know that presents a difficulty for them because they've such a hard on at the moment for getting everyone on the roster on these shows practically and stuff like that. But I don't think it works because we will talk about the main event and we'll talk about the crowd and all that kind of stuff. And the crowd were really into the show. But I think they just got a bit worn out. I just thought it was super long. And they just... A lot of people have spoke about this over and over again, but they don't tend to think in any way of changing it and stuff like that. But let us know as you get down through the card. So I started off with the tag match, the 4-way tag match with the King of the Black Throne, the Outrunners, the Acclaimed, and Private Party. I have to say, I really, really enjoyed the match. I thought it was a fun match. I thought there was some good back and forth. Some of these characters are unreal, aren't they? The Outrunners and all. Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd. It's just gas, isn't it? But Brody King looking very strong in there with Malachi Black as well. But Private Party picking up the win. Cassidy and Quinn doing really, really well. Looked the part as well. The Acclaimed as well, and to see Billy Gunn out there, Billy Gunn for his age looks unbelievable, doesn't he? But a big win for Private Party in it. Tag team champions. MJF versus the Undisputed Kingdom's Roderick Strong. I enjoyed this. I thought it was decent. MJF trying to do the damage at the end, of course, after picking up the win, and of course the Undisputed Kingdom hit the ring. You got Kyle O'Reilly in there, Adam Cole, and I think Mike Bennett. And MJF getting out of town pretty quickly once that happened and stuff like that. And a little bit of a undispute, I would say, between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. So we'll see where that goes. Is there problems in the Undisputed Kingdom? This is how it's manifesting itself. But let's see. But strong showing by both boys. Acers is in. Will Ospreay match. Match of the pay-per-view. Not overly disagree with you, but I have to say we'll get onto it when we talk about the match. But that pile driver off the apron to the steps was just ridiculous. Ospreay took the Brian Buster suplex from the top turnbuckle mint. Yeah, it's. My fear races is it's always just so close to going wrong, and eventually somewhere along the line your luck runs out. TBS Championship match, the CEO Mercedes Moné champion versus Chris Statlander. Mercedes Moné picking up the win. Certainly a very good match. I probably thought so far this is probably Mercedes Moné's best match in AEW. I think Chris Statlander is an absolute star, and her stock just keeps on rising. But it's going to be difficult, isn't it? It's going to be difficult to get the title off Mercedes Moné, isn't it? Just by definition. Switchblade, Jay White with Juice Robinson picking up the win against Hangman Adam Page. Not much to dwell on this. Interesting win for Jay White. Came back well in it as well. Hangman Adam Page still trying to find a kind of a meaningful place or something like that. That's the way I would describe it. But a big win for Jay White. The aerial assassin Will Ospreay versus the Don Callis families. I love the way they put this out. The proto star Kyle Fletcher with Don Callis. The Don Callis family, the proto star Kyle Fletcher with Don Callis. It was a big evening for the Don Callis family. They had a lot of big wins. But this was a win for Kyle Fletcher. Big win on his resume against Will Ospreay and stuff like that. Both boys are put on a really, really good match. But again, just my fear is when they start going into that crazy world of some of that stuff. And I just don't know when you're that talented. I just wonder, do you have to go to the depths of like that, that pile driver onto the steps from the apron and stuff like that? That can just go so viciously wrong. It's the kind of thing that can end careers, but the boys seem to lap it up. So, and there certainly is a hunger for it within the crowd and stuff like that. I see a move like that, I kind of cringe a little bit, especially when I see Ospreay going down, holding the neck like he got a stinger. I'm not too sure sometimes whether he's working or whether it's real, and that would be my fear. But a big win for Kyle Fletcher. The Champagne Championship celebration for AEW Women's World Champion, the Glamour Mariah May with Mina Shirakawa. Turning on each other, going for the hit with the bottle, ducked the hit with the bottle, and then went for the spear basically down onto the floor through the tables, I think it was. This seemed like a spot that was kind of more suited to kind of TV, one of the TV shows to set up maybe a match for a future pay-per-view or something like that. Don't know why it had to be on this. And this is when we talk about how long these things are and stuff like that. Why do they have to be so long? It's this kind of stuff that goes in there that just doesn't really need to be in there. TNT Championship match. We have a new TNT champion, Daniel Garcia, picking up the win over the scapegoat, Jack Perry. Again, Daniel Garcia. I like the way he works and stuff like that. And I think this was a better showing this time by Jack Perry, in fairness. I think it's on the back of a couple of big shows now where it just hasn't worked or performed or clicked. I think this was a better showing, but a big win for Daniel Garcia, new TNT champion. AEW International Championship match. The Don Callis family's Takeshita champion going in versus Ricochet. I kind of don't know what to make of Ricochet's time so far in AEW. Came in to huge kind of setup, but just hasn't really kind of like is there really, tell me this, is there really a difference in Ricochet's booking from when he was in WWE? A lot of what he complained about in WWE, how different is it in there now at the moment? And maybe they're building towards something, maybe not, but he's gone in there and he seems to be, and I have a lot of respect for Ricochet. I think some of the stuff he does is absolutely outrageous. I think he's very, very talented, super athlete and stuff like that. But he very quickly becomes part of the furniture, doesn't he? And I think that's what his problem was in WWE. And it's happening here as well, and they may not realize it. But Takeshita picking up the win and stuff like that, and rightly so. he's a phenomenal wrestler to catch the big future and stuff like that. But for Ricochet, they're quickly going to have to kind of figure out what they want to do in that area because I, for one, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I, for one, don't really see the difference, to be honest. World's End pay-per-view, Fatal 4-Way, AEW Championship, and MJF versus Cole. Yeah, massive flop. Yeah, I'm feeling the same. I had high hopes for Ricochet going in there, but you know what they say about the grass not always being greener, but however. And then we had Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley, which was kind of weird to me. Bobby Lashley, just by his look, looks really, really strong. But this kind of felt like anyone else just feel like this was kind of a squash match. It was kind of like it was just Lashley doing his thing, and you know, this was, you know, it was a bit frustrating, really, this match because he was in there with Swerve Strickland. You know what I mean? He wasn't in there with, you know, some bottom card jobber or something like that. You know what I mean? And it just felt really weird that you would come in. I know you want to come in, you want to hit the ground strong and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't know if Swerve was the guy to get that point across and stuff like that, because you can very quickly get lumbered with that and stuff. So I didn't know what your thoughts were. Let me know in the chat what your thoughts were on it. It just kind of felt weird. And then we go to the main event. Use that word loosely. The Death Riders, John Moxley with Marina Shafir versus freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. How did you feel about this match? I thought this match was just crap. I just sorry if I'm doing things a disservice. But tell me what's changed. What's changed? What's this new AEW? This just looked like a traditional prison beatdown, basically. I don't think this did anything for Orange Cassidy whatsoever. John Moxley winning, obviously, as champion. Willie Uter, the Death Riders all getting involved, the usual stuff. But what exactly has changed? This interview in the New York Post, what has changed in there from what we've seen already? Big up, Eno. How are you? Hope you're good, my friend. Cocaine Khan giving Hurt Business creative control, trying to get one up on WWE and Triple H. But it's not going to work, because the problem is, if you go out there and you put on a match like that against a guy like Swerve Strickland, who's a big deal in the company, you know, it looks bad on both boys, because it's not believable, and probably on a fan level, you know, it's somewhat not even acceptable. For him to be able to go in there and just do what he did to Swerve in this match, you know, it's just, to me, it doesn't do either guy any good. So yeah, let me know your thoughts if you've different thoughts on it. And I don't think it gets one up on WWE, because I think what happened in this match was it hurts Swerve and it also hurts Lashley. Because there's nothing in it for both boys, really, to be honest. And that was just my thoughts on it. Back to the main event anyway, though. What did you think of the main event? I just didn't like it. It was just a beat down after beat down after beat down, and then I don't even know where. I don't know what story they were trying to tell. I don't know where they were going with it. I don't know when the guys got involved. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, it felt as if they were laying down, and it's kind of weird as well to lay down a kind of a storyline. Yeah, that Darby Allen final scene was odd as well, wasn't it? But it's like as if they were laying down a storyline on the back of a pay-per-view main event, which felt weird. And not weird in a, like, you know, a cashing in a Money in the Bank, or cashing in a, you know, a contract, or, you know, it just felt weird. It nearly felt as if this match was the go-home match leading into the pay-per-view, didn't it? Rather than the pay-per-view main event. Just felt weird. I don't think the match did anything for Orange Cassidy. And with Mox, you got what Mox does. Just kind of weird. For me, weird. Anyway, that's how I felt about it. But let me know your thoughts if you watched it. I didn't think there was a whole lot in it. I think the use of the steps at times with Moxley, I think, looks dangerous. AEW needs to stop running large arenas. They're not drawing good crowds. In fairness with this one, Ian, the crowd wasn't too bad at all, and the crowd was into it. I just think it's too long. I think they had them in there. I think it was guts of, some people were saying 5 hours or something like that. That's a long time to be at a wrestling show. You know what I mean? And especially with the way they book these and structure these shows, they want you constantly popping, 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 popping. And eventually you just sit down in your chair and you ain't got any pop left. The crowd for the main event was kind of wrecked more than anything. Darby Allin will end this storyline either at Revolution or Double or Nothing. Yeah, and it needs to. It needs to. If this is going to be the new AEW, this is going to be day zero and all this kind of stuff that they spoke about. These are the things that they need to do. And I don't know. I just find it weird. Mox is the spokesman. Mox is the champion. It just feels weird to me. Feels weird. But yeah, but that's it. AEW Full Gear. I have to say, overall, I enjoyed the show. As we said before, the normal things that we complain about: too many matches, too long, the usual kind of stuff. But I think overall, I thought most of the matches were decent. I didn't kind of understand the Lashley one. I know, Ace, as you've said, obviously, to kind of stick it to WWE and Triple H, but why bother? And I thought the main event just lacked any kind of, I don't know, any kind of layers, if you like. You know, it's just missing layers. It just seemed like an unconditional beatdown, really, more than anything, you know. So I wasn't really into it, to be honest, because I couldn't kind of get invested in it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. That's it. That's Full Gear. Grand Slam Australia show moved venue because tickets not being sold. Listen, we know the score there. They've been cancelling and moving collisions and all sorts of stuff and all. We know that they're up against it. We know that it's a struggle at the moment. I thought they did all right in this one, though. This one looked as if it went all right for them, so we shall see. Right, so up next we want to talk about Raw from last night. So we obviously got our Intercontinental strap for the ladies, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But we get your thoughts later on as well. Let us know what you thought of the 2 women's belts being introduced and stuff like that. They're probably needed, aren't they? Because I was thinking the other day, and I was thinking about the women's division in WWE, and I was thinking across all shows. My God, they are stacked to the gills with women, aren't they? And quality women performers. The quality of women's wrestling in WWE at the moment now, and especially on that NXT brand, is absolutely off the scale. Off the scale. I don't think they could be doing it any better at the moment. And I'm really interested to see how they handle the booking now on the two belts, the IC and the US. So word that the guy doing backstage interviews on 0 Hour is writing Moxley storytelling. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird, you know what I mean? And even I was looking at, you know, some of the fun things, like the QT Marshall with the Costco guy and all this, you know. You know, it's just so kind of like it's so hokey, isn't it? It's so hokey nearly to the point where it's nearly like I probably enjoyed that more than I did the main event because it's so hokey. You know what I mean? So yeah, but it is. It's crazy at the moment. Let's get into Raw anyway, though. We'll have a chat. Obviously, coming out of it, we've seen solo segment and stuff like that. So we've got Jay versus Jacob Fatu. Really looking forward to that on Friday night on SmackDown to gain the War Games advantage. We've seen it, first of all, we've Gunther and Damian Priest segment. Priest with the razor's edge, getting the upper hand. Gunther kind of laid out, Priest holding the belt up. That was the go home for those boys for Survivor Series. So looking forward to that match. Really want to see Priest perform in this as well and stuff. So see if he's turning it up a notch each time he goes out there. Singles competition in a big position on the card and stuff like that. So should be interesting. Yeah, New Day breakup as well. Yeah, we go through it first of all. Though Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee with the LWO, the Creed brothers picking up the win by pinfall in a tornado tag team match. Not a huge amount to talk about it. Braun Breaker, Ludwig Kaiser by DQ picking up the win. against Braun Breaker, but obviously Sheamus getting involved as well with the beat down there, and hence we have the match. We have the match at Survivor Series. Is this the match? Is this the match where Sheamus does the business? I think Sheamus is a shoe in for that IC belt at Survivor Series, and I think once it happens, it'll be a big deal as well. The Judgment Day winning by pinfall against the War Raiders for the World Tag Team Championships. I read there the other day. Is this the second or third time they've defended the belts in like 150 days or something like that? And I think up until the OTT show, I think that was their second or third defense or something like that. Very, very strange. Maybe on TV it is or something like that. But it goes to show you, I mean, it's, you know, we need to be careful when we talk about tag team titles and stuff like that and all. These are things that need to be defended. But obviously with Raw, going back to the 2 hours, it's a little bit awkward at the moment, trying to fit it all in and stuff. And I think things will flesh out a little bit better when it hits Netflix. I think we'll get a much better product. Yeah, fair. What's he done about? Fergal will probably interference to help Walter, yeah, maybe. And 3 times after last night, yeah, 3 times. Does that include the OTT one as well? Or is that just WWE programming? Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Just that amount of time to be floating around. The New Day getting beaten by the Alpha Academy with Maxine Dupree by pinfall. And this led to the Barney, of course, that you see there on the... I should put this back up, actually. The Barney that you're seeing there between Kofi and Xavier. And the row, it's kind of a... That cut went deep, didn't it? When those 2 boys went at it and stuff like that. My biggest fear on this, I mean, how do you feel about this New Day thing? It's coming to an end, isn't it? And Big E has to have some involvement in it. But it'll be interesting to see what way it goes. Acers is in. Triple H doesn't want tag team titles on pay-per-view, only for TV. Yeah, if that's the case, then do it. Like they haven't even been on TV that much either. Like the boys have been on, but in terms of the belts, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting breakup. The question is, like, really, when they break up and how they do it, where does it go from there? You know what I mean? Because you're looking at the cards at the moment. They're having a problem because of the timing, so trying to fit everything in and make it all make sense and all. Plus, they've got the 2 new women's belts as well in there as well that they're having to run tournaments on and all that. We'll get an update on that shortly. But I just don't know. This New Day, when the boys break up, what are they going to do with them? Yeah, and as Aces is saying there as well, DIY, another breakup imminent as well. Where are all these guys going to go? Where are they going to pad them out into? On what's already a clustered roster. But it's going to be interesting to see. Also going to be interesting to see how they come out of this, because you look at that row last night. Obviously, Xavier dropping some of those hurtful jabs, if you like, stuff like that, made him feel kind of heelish and stuff like that. But both guys pretty. See when Biggie comes in next week, what way does it go and stuff like that. Be interesting. Acers, Chelsea Green winning the Women's US Championship. You could be right. We do have an update on it. So I wouldn't be surprised. Who are they pinning? Who are they pinning for the IC belt? Has there been any kind of information coming out about who's in line for the IC one? I haven't seen anything yet. Solo's promo. I have to say, I think Solo's he's developing nicely at a nice pace at the moment, so it should be interesting. But obviously, Jay Uso versus Jacob Fatu War Games advantage match at SmackDown. That'll be a good match on Friday night. Really looking forward to that. Prior to Survivor Series, I think Survivor Series is starting at 11 as well, is it, or is it 12? Not too sure, because it said did it say 6 o'clock East Coast, which would be 11 o'clock here. So we shall see. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll update you as we go along. And Bianca Belair by pinfall versus Nia Jax taking the win in the Women's War Games advantage match. I thought that was really impressive when she press slammed Nia off the top rope. I thought that looked really, really cool. Bianca's an absolute beast in there, isn't she? And looked really, really well. I'm not sure what they're lay down at the moment for Jade. Obviously, Bailey's out there at the moment, and she's going to take the spot. But it'd be interesting to see what way that goes. Yeah, I seen that. Jacob Fatu already defeats Jey Uso. Shh! Don't say that. Shh. Keep us excited for Friday night. Jay Cargill out until WrestleMania. Yeah, seen that all right. With an actual injury and stuff like that. So, but it'd be interesting to see, who claims to have taken her out and stuff like that. Should be interesting. But Bailey slotting in there, and obviously we know the situation, Punk and Bronson Reed. So it should be really, really interesting. But that kind of wounded out your go home Raw for Survivor Series. Some interesting stuff in it, obviously. But again, I just think it's kind of some nice stuff going on in the show, but then other stuff is just kind of put in there, if you like, But I don't think Raw will settle down until we go back 3 hours on Netflix. That's my thinking. So what that leads us to is Survivor Series, and this is basically your card. I don't think anything else is going to be added at this stage. I wouldn't have thought so anyway. So let us know your thoughts on Survivor Series. What's your predictions? So we've got LA Knight versus Shinsuke. I wanted to ask you, actually, what's people's thoughts on this Shinsuke character at the moment? This one that's out there now at the moment. Is this enough for you to give it another go round, give it another chance? He certainly is in love with his tribal chief, that's for sure. Absolutely, but is there enough depth in this Shinsuke character for us to buy in again? I've often said on the show, I'm so disappointed in the way Shinsuke has gone. His NXT run was incredible, and obviously coming in from where he came in as well, huge resume, huge career. Comes in absolutely brilliant in NXT, comes up onto the main roster, and it just died. So let me know your thoughts, what you think. I don't see the belt changing hands, but certainly the character will be interesting. And then we got the IC one. I'm going with our man Sheamus, Braun Breaker, and Ludwig. I think Sheamus is going to pick up the belt in that one. I would expect Gunther to retain. What do you think is going to happen in the men's War Games match? I think you could get a lot of distraction in there, potentially from Seth Rollins and with Punk, and that could ultimately cost the team the win. And of course, stuff with Sami Zayn at the moment is a little bit up in the air. So there's a lot of stuff going on that original bloodline at the moment that doesn't help the situation. I think for Solo, I think it's more stable in there. I think having Bronson Reed in there and Jacob Fatu is a huge plus. I have a funny feeling that Solo's team is going to pick up the win here, and that a lot of stuff is going to evolve on it, and we're going to get some of those WrestleMania storylines being laid down. I think it's going to be interesting. I look at Roman's side. I'm not too sure on Punk. You can see the stuff there. I'm not too sure on Sammy. You can see the stuff there. So, 2 out of the 5 would be more than enough. And then look at the line of killers on the other side. So I'm going to go with Solo. I'm going to go with the new bloodline to pick up this win at War Games and lay down some storylines to bring us into the spring and WrestleMania season. On the other side with the women's one, how would you think this is going to go? You've got Bianca in there. You've got Rhea in there. You've got Bailey in there. You've got a lot of characters in there. A lot of interesting, dynamic kind of friendships, personalities, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Liv's team picking up the win in this. But let me know what you think. The women's match as well, they tend to normally, on these kind of character sort of matches and stuff like that, or team sort of matches, they tend to outperform the lads. Sometimes the lads' matches in this don't hit the straps that you would think. Aces is where are we? Bianca Belair attacked Jade Cargill, leading to their WrestleMania 41 match. Yeah, that could be the storyline, all right. We know there's a bit of history there outside as well in reality. So just looking forward to the main event. Excuse me. Aces gone for the OG bloodline. Women's War Games Open Survivor Series. Excuse me. And Bonkers is in. Big up Bonkers. Hope you're good, my friend. Hope you're looking forward to the matches. We're flying at the moment. I did do a preview for the Real Madrid game as well. I dropped it today, so it's there. Nakamura, you going for Nakamura to grab the US belt? Great shout, great shout. Interesting. Gunter to retain, I think so. Yeah. Braun Breaker to retain. You going with Braun to retain? I think this is tailor made for Sheamus to complete the list. I think, and Niall's team to win Bloodline. Yeah, interesting. Good choices though. Good choices. I think Sheamus, and I think LA Knight will retain, won't he? Bonkers, what have you made of Nakamura? What have you thought of Nakamura so far? This new one. Someone I think will turn in the Rhea team. Yeah, you have a Bailey in there. You have there's characters in there definitely with big personalities. So, yeah, where will they be all able to function together? Who knows? This might be the opportunity for Tiffany Stratton as well. Let's see what happens. But certainly something electric will come out of it. Women always knock it out of the park. Just a quick update on the US tournament. Obviously, so we got Bailey in there and Chelsea Green going into one half of the final. And we get the others as we go through. Who are we expected to come through here? Jade is obviously out. She's been replaced. Apparently by the girl off NXT. So that should be interesting to see if they're bringing her up. Is it going to be a proper bump in there? I'll tell you one thing. Don't be surprised. Here's a shout. Don't be surprised if you get a Chelsea Green versus Piper Niven. That would be interesting now, wouldn't you? Because they have been having this little kind of back and forward. So it could be interesting on this US belt if you had a Chelsea Green versus Piper Niven. And remember, don't be surprised if they don't go with the narrative. The narrative at the moment going around is Chelsea Green. Don't be surprised if they turn it and Piper comes out being the US champion. That would be interesting. Where are we? War Games needs a roof on the cage. Interesting. When you look back on them, Remember the one? What was the one where was it Nash picked up someone? No, not Nash. It was someone picked up someone and cracked them off the top of the cage. Remember back in the NWA days or something like that. Vicious. Bring back the triple cage. Now you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot now for that. In fairness, we got the War Games back. Megan and Naomi, I think. Megan and Naomi into the semi. And then what are you thinking down, Bonkers? Are you thinking Naomi? So are we thinking Chelsea Green Naomi final? I don't know. Be interesting. Certainly interesting. Atletico Madrid winning 6-0. Good Lord. 6-0. Conor Gallagher get any of them? Or any of the assists? Be interesting to see. Let me know your thoughts as well on this, folks. What do you think? How are you feeling about the two belts coming in? I think it had to happen. I think they're nearly at a stage where they're bulging so much with female talent. Are they vastly heading towards nearly a weekly women's show? Would that be the case eventually? Are they heading towards potentially a monthly women's pay-per-view or something like that? I mean, some of the women down there on NXT are absolutely outstanding. Forget about even when we talk about how talented the ladies are up on Raw and SmackDown and all. When you look at some of those ladies down on NXT, good Lord, Sol Ruka and all them, unbelievable, incredible. But let me know your thoughts on the two belts and what you think about them as well. And we'll take a little bit of history. And some notable birthdays. Bonkers is going for a Naomi win. Acers are saying NXT deadline pay-per-view December the 7th. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. NXT is just on fire at the moment, isn't it? It's absolute fire at the moment. Arguably, some people would argue, probably the best show they're putting out at the minute. But let me know. Right, bit of history. So we start off 1987. The very first WWF Survivor Series came from the Richfield Coliseum and was billed as the biggest event since WrestleMania 3. It was the second pay-per-view to be added to the annual WWF calendar. In the main event, tag team elimination match, Andre the Giant's heels team of Butch Reed, King Kong Bundy, One Man Gang, and Rick Rude were victorious over WWF champion Hulk Hogan's team of Bam Bam Bigelow, Don Morocco, Ken Patera, and Paul Orndorff. That's a serious amount of beef in one ring, isn't it? Yeah, I think so as well, Bonkers. I like both belts. I think they look the business. I think they were well needed as well. Next up then, 1980. Sorry, I'm only halfway through this. Also on the card was a fully loaded 10-on-10 tag team elimination match, which featured teams such as the British Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, Strike Force, the Fabulous Rougeaus, Demolition, and the Hart Foundation. Quality. 1987. This was the first year that the NWA Starrcade did not come from the Greensboro Coliseum. Instead, Chicago was the location, and the event was billed as the Chi-Town Heat, with the card featuring 2 steel cage matches. In the main event, Ric Flair defeated Hands of Stone, Ron Garvin. If you're old enough, as I am, to remember Ronnie Garvin, Hands of Stone, Ron Garvin, for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And in the semi-main event, Dusty Rhodes defeated Lex Luger for the United States title. Also, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard retained the NWA Tag Team titles against the Road Warriors. And Nikita Koloff defeated Terry Taylor to unify the NWA and the UWF World TV Championships. And the Rock and Roll Express were victorious over the Midnight Express in a Skywalker's match. There you go. What a card. 1988, Tito Santana and Greg the Hammer Valentine fought to a draw for the Intercontinental title in the main event of a WWF house show in Madison Square Garden. Tito and Greg the Hammer. Legends. 1999, Hiro Matsuda died of colon cancer, age 62. Matsuda is most famous to Western wrestling fans as the trainer of a number of hugely prominent wrestling stars, including Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, the Great Muta, Lex Luger, Ron Simmons, and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Absolutely. And mentioned constantly all the time by those guys throughout their careers. 2016, on an episode of Raw from Charlotte, North Carolina, Sasha Banks captured the WWE Raw Women's Championship from Charlotte Flair in a false count anywhere match. Something we didn't expect. Charlotte Flair losing in Charlotte, North Carolina, Ric Flair territory. There you go. 1998, one of the most famous villains in British wrestling history, Joint Haystacks, Martin Ruan, died after a battle with cancer. He died in his hometown of Prestwick, aged 52. Of course, his matches against Big Daddy and Joint Haystacks are absolutely legendary on World of Sport. 1999, on an episode of Raw, the wedding between Stephanie McMahon and Test, rest in peace, my friend, was interrupted by Triple H, who played a video revealing that he secretly married and intoxicated Stephanie at a drive-through Las Vegas wedding chapel in Las Vegas. Cracking storyline, absolutely mad. Imagine putting that out these days and stuff like that. An intoxicated Stephanie at a drive-through Las Vegas wedding chapel. 1999 episode of Raw. Rest in peace, Test as well. What a performer. Notable birthdays. We'll go in and take some of the comments first. Did you get the link I've sent on WhatsApp, WWE Volta? I'd seen it already, pal. I did follow it already. Some good stuff in there, real good stuff. AC Milan 132. Absolutely flying at the moment, AC Milan. World of Sport Road Warriors, yeah. And Acers. Today in 1991, King Cobra bit Randy Savage on WWF Superstars. It did indeed. I like that, lads, when you want to add in your own history as well. I like that. Keep that going for future weeks and stuff like that. Notable birthdays: 1980, Josh Matthews. 1946, Johnny Valiant. Black Jack Mulligan, 1942. Maven, 1976. Ivory, 1961. And we rounded out with the one Davy Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, 1962. They are your notable birthdays for this week. I'm sure there's more. And your history. Hope you enjoyed it. We kind of keep it in line with the week of the pay-per-view and what's involved in it and stuff like that. But that is your show for Pro Wrestling Pro Wrestling Weekly this week. If you could, make sure you're liking the video, make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Enjoy Survivor Series. We will be back next week. We will do a review of Survivor Series and all the fallout from that. Any changes throughout the week or anything changes, we'll jump on, do a few little shorts and stuff like that. I'm hoping to have a show on Thursday. Darren is 40, so he may or may not be available. But if he's not available, I will jump on. I'll do some sort of a short show where we give our predictions for the matches and stuff like that, and a few bets and all the usual stuff. So until next time, folks, enjoy the football, enjoy the wrestling, have a safe week, and I'll talk to you again probably Thursday evening. Cheers, folks.